Now, some people will tell you, no, but I feel godly things. I see things that, haven't happened yet. Or I can tell you things about certain people without them telling me. That is possible. It is possible. Sometimes it's in your imagination, so it's possible in your brain. It's possible. There's a person that was a complete and adamant liar, one of those compulsive liars. And one of the Gedolim during that generation, he was like one of these Hasidim that could never say anything bad about anybody. Somebody said, "Oh, come on, Rabbi, look at this lie." No, he's not a lie. Don't say that. Nah, some people have a talent. Some people have a talent where they always say the truth. Some people have a talent where they have an imagination. They tell you that I see certain things happen. He has a unique thing. He sees things that have never happened. So sometimes you have people that their imagination is a different world. A different world. So it is real, but for them. You can't tell them, it's not real. She feels that way. So for her, it's real. For him, it's real. Doesn't mean it's real for the rest of us, but some people feel that. Some people do feel that stuff, and it is real, but unfortunately it comes from the kochot atum'ah, the powers of the impure. When a person makes sins specifically related to immorality and idolatry, they create an additional strength to the impure world, and sometimes the impure world reciprocates and gives them something in return in order for them to continue making the sin. It's without going too deep into this world, because number one, I don't want people testing this, and number two, it's just not necessary. The impure world, if you ever look into, for example, people that are satanic, the way they serve their idol, the way they serve their Satan, is through seed, sperm, and blood. So these are the tools of the impure world. So when a person is either, again, involved in idolatry or immorality, this gives powers to the impure world, and this impure world can give a person what looks like powers. It's not really powers, but nonetheless it looks like powers, either understanding of certain people or certain things that happen, even certain perspective that's unusual, all types of unusual things. So this is very much real, but this is forbidden for anyone to use, including that person. Shaul HaMelech fell for it. He was a righteous king of Am Yisrael, but he fell for it one time, and because of that Hashem punished him and killed him and his children, even though he was righteous his whole life. But aside from that, we don't have the merits of Shaul HaMelech. So if we do such a thing, we can lose Olam Haba. We can lose Olam Haba. So it's a very, very dangerous world to deal with any of those kochot atumah, Ouija boards, seances, all types of things. But those things, if a person knows how to use it, they do work for some people, and they can create a lot of havoc in the world. Perhaps there's even some people that believe that certain, what they call illusionists, which are today's term for magicians, that are very, very high-end and experts. Some of them perhaps use it. But the more a person uses it, pretty much the more impossible it is for them to get out of it while staying alive. It's like the old term of they sold their soul to the devil, literally. Now this does exist, but it's a very, very dangerous world, and you have to run away from people, even if they say they have this. You have to simply run away from them, because if they don't and they're liars, why would you want to be friends with anybody like this? And if they do, they're dangerous, without even knowing that they're dangerous, because they can affect you with this stuff. So this is stuff that you don't want to deal with. I had the opportunity to deal with a few people like this. Trust me when I tell you, you don't want this in your life. I don't really want to give you too much details, because it's just better for you not to know. But in so many words, run away. Run away. Now, the other way that it's real is if a person acquires it through Kedusha. Where a person that has acquired, male or female, a certain amount of holiness can get to a point where they have literally not just this happiness, this state of ecstasy, different times or even all the time, but they can even get to the point of doing things that we consider supernatural. Sometimes dreams. There's even things called like aliyat neshama, which is elevating their soul to the upper worlds, which is one of the things that the Midrash says that Shlomo HaMelech did. Shlomo HaMelech in the Midrashim, it says that Shlomo HaMelech had an enormous eagle that he would fly. He would fly on top of his eagle every month to go see different parts of the world. So some say that this eagle was a spiritual eagle, that he would take him to the underworlds, to Gehenom, to Gan Eden, to different parts of the mystical worlds. Whether he was a real eagle, mystical eagle, either way, Shlomo HaMelech flew on him, and I can't wait to see this eagle one day. But the point is that there is a Chacham that is the grandson of a very big Chacham, the Bala Avat HaChaim, who says he knows how to do this. I can't verify, I wasn't there, but he says he knows how to do this, where he could take a person's neshama and in essence take him to different parts of the mystical worlds. Today, like alive today. Alive today in Eretz Yisrael, he could take a person's neshama and put him in different places in the world, show him Gehenom, show him Gan Eden, show him different Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. A lot of people are skeptical of this because somebody in this generation being able to do this, it's very hard to believe. But he's a very, very big tzaddik and chacham, and it's hard to ever say he's a liar. But the point is that this does exist. It's not like a new thing. It does exist. It has existed. It always exists. It's just hard to believe that it exists in our generation. Point being is that when a person gets to a high level of kedusha, there's a lot of things that we view as supernatural that become standard to them. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, there was a story publicized about Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Rav Chaim Kanievsky, everyone that's not living under a rock knows what he looks like, knows that he's a holy person, knows that he learns a lot of Torah, and every other day some other campaign for money says that he said it. I highly doubt he did, but the point is that every other day his name is publicized in one form or another, especially in the recent years about connection to Mashiach. He's coming, he's not coming, he's coming, he's not coming, all that. The point is that how did Rav Kanievsky get to this? Like, how did he become such a holy person? Most people, they just see this old man sitting there saying a couple of words, literally, to a bunch of strange people, and no one really understands, like, why is he there and I'm not there? I read books. He read books, I read books. Like, what's the difference between him and me? In today's world, you'd be surprised how little people know about Gdolim. One of the things that I saw just today is somebody saw we posted the letter that was written by one of the Gedolei Ador, Rav Sternbach, wrote a letter against this Rasha Mirvis from Eretz Yisrael, from London, and one person commented, yeah, but you shouldn't listen to these Gdolim, like who are they anyway? Who elected them? So that's how little people know about who a Gadol is and what makes a Gadol. That's needless to say, that's the reason why if the Rambam or the Baal Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo, say something, I say, no, I don't agree with them, as if it's somebody that you have, you're on the same, equal footing to agree or disagree or even debate. People have very little knowledge of this. Now, Rav Chaim Kanievsky, one of the Gedolei Ador today, a few years ago, a story was publicized by the person that lived it. And he said, he came to Rav Chaim Kanievsky and he asked Rav Chaim what to do about a shidduch. He can't find a shidduch. Can't find a shidduch because he has a very big scar on his head, on his forehead, a very ugly scar. And every time, in the beginning of the shidduch, usually he hides it with like a hat, or with hair, or with different things. But as the shidduch goes along, after they go out on a couple of dates, and he shows the girl the scar, immediately she runs away. Like it's so hideous that, people are scared of it. And he says, and he's getting older already, He's already in his 20s, or 19 or 20, which in the frum world it's old. Today in America, 35, you're not even married yet. But here in the frum world, it's 19 is already old. So anyway, he was getting older already, and he's worried. What should he do? So Reb Chaim Kanievsky, without missing and skipping a beat, says, the next shidduch that you get, right away, first conversation you start, you tell her exactly how you got the scar. He says, but for the Rav, I tried to leave this for... Did you hear what I said? This is what he says to him. Did you hear what I said? Now Rav Kanievsky doesn't speak much. If he added those few words, it's a big deal already. Shtabach Shema, okay, runs it out. As he's leaving, he gets a phone call from Shatchanit. Yeah, listen, I have a shidduch for you tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning. Right after you finish praying, there's a woman, there, meet her over there in this cafe. 8 o'clock in the morning, shidduch. Shtabach Shema, 8 o'clock. I'm probably not showing up to that shidduch. But anyway, he goes, okay, 8 o'clock in the morning, shidduch, sada. So he walks into the cafe. He sees a woman, pretty woman, young woman, Bat Israel, modest, everything, and he sits down, and he, right away, sits down, and he takes off his hat, and he sees the facial expression on her face. When she sees the scar, it's hideous. And she's concerned, but she doesn't say anything. Polite. What's the guy going to do? The Gedol Hador said you have to talk about it. So he says to her, I have to tell you why I got the scar. He said, 4 years ago, I was walking around after yeshiva, and it was a evening already. And as I'm walking in the streets, I hear a woman screaming. I look around, and I see this Arab is dragging this young girl. He's dragging her on the floor, taking with him. And I know this girl doesn't want to be with the Jewish girl. It's an Arab. There's something's wrong here. And I ran over there. I left my bags. I ran over there, and I jumped on the Arab. Got him to free the girl. And as soon as he saw her run away, he looked at me, took his knife, and sliced me across my head. And that's how I got the scar. As he's saying the story, he sees the girl starting to shake and cry. He says, I'm sorry, it's hideous to you. She goes, no, forget it. No, forget the hideous. He says, why are you crying? He says, I'm the girl. And I've been looking for you for 4 years. And I wished I had the merit to marry you. Surely, no more dates. They got married, Ishtabach Shemo, built a Jewish family. Now, anyone that thinks that Rav Chaim Kanievsky didn't know this, and this was just by chance, doesn't know anything about Chachamim. Doesn't know anything about Torah, doesn't know anything about Kadosh Baruch Hu. To have such Ruach HaKodesh is not something you acquire because you're old and you read books. That's not how it's acquired. To become a Rav Chaim Kanievsky, you have to understand everything the Chazon Ish said. How do you get to that? Now, many people know the stories of Rav Chaim Kanievsky, of how a giant he is. But even as a young boy, he was already something that is hard for us to understand. Rav Shach, alav shalom, came to visit the Steipler Gaon, Rav Chaim Kanievsky's father, during one Sukkot, when at that time Rav Chaim Kanievsky was still a bachur, was about 20 years old. And he came to the Steipler to say on Sukkot to talk to him about a potential shidduch for Rav Chaim Kanievsky, little Chaimke. And it's not appropriate to talk about a shidduch next to him. In the frum world, it's not like the secular world. Like, hey son, look at her. You like her? You like her? It's not like that. In the frum world, everything is modest, appropriate, not appropriate, yes, good, no. It's all negotiations. Why? You don't want the kid to start having machshavot zarot, foreign thoughts. So before you offer something, let me see if this is right for us and this and that. Same thing for girls. You don't just say, honey, what do you think of him? He's good, he has a lot of money. No, it's not how, you don't sell your kid like it's meat. Not in the frum world. So he comes to him, and he says to the stipler, the Rav Shach says to the stipler, one gadol hador to the other, I want to talk to you about shidduch for your son, but it's not, lo kavod that he's going to be here. The stipler Gaon, he was deaf in one ear. He said, it doesn't matter, he can't hear you. Even if you scream, he can't hear you. He's learning right now. Rav Chaim Kanievsky, when he's learning, the whole world can explode. He doesn't know what's happening. Why? He learns, he's inside the Torah. Already when he was young. Like the story I told you guys on Tisha B'Av with Rav Ovadia, when Bibi Netanyahu came to visit him with all of his entourage, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 people all in the room. He didn't even know they were there. When these people are learning Torah, they're removed from the world. You don't get to Ruach HaKodesh just learning a little bit, coming to shiur a couple of hours here and there, watching YouTube, maybe a couple of books when you get a chance, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Yeah, Rabbi, I learn every day. How much? I learn the clips, 5-minute clips, but the 10 minutes is too much for me. You don't get Ruach HaKodesh that way. What do you do? What do you have to do, though? So let's see. Chaim Kanievsky was published in a newsletter or magazine called Bait Torani on page 5. This is the daily schedule of his learning. Every day. First, he starts his day at Chatzot. What is starting his day at Chatzot? When do you wake up? 6 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock no customers. 8 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully by 9 you're up. Hopefully. Bezrat Hashem. Okay. He starts his day at Chatzot. When's Chatzot? Middle of the night. Midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Depends when the Jewish hour of Chatzot is where he is, at different times of the year. 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. He starts his day. When he starts. Your morning is 8 hours later. He's already 8 hours ahead of you. Hopefully 8 hours. Shem Yishmo. At Chatzot, he starts with a daf in the Zohar. First daf in the Zohar. Then he reviews Sefer Pri Ha'etz, Rabbi Chaim Vital. Then he goes into Sifrei HaLeshem. This is Kabbalistic teachings and mystical stuff. Then Tehillim, some Psalms. After that, he reads a full perek, a full chapter in a Tanakh. Nevi'im, Ketuvim, a full perek in there. After he's finished that, 3 pages in Mishnah Berurah. Then after that, 3 chapters in the Rambam. After that, 5 pages in the Shulchan Aruch. After that, 8 pages in Talmud Bavli, but it also includes Masechtot Ktanot, which most of you probably don't know what that is, but nonetheless, it's a lot. After that, after he completes each section in the Gemara, each chapter in the Gemara, he reads all of the Tosefta, the commentaries by Tosfot on the entire Perek. Then he does the Yerushalmi, there's the Bavli and the Yerushalmi, which could be up to 50 pages a day just on the Yerushalmi alone. Sometimes it's nothing, sometimes it's 50 pages in one day. I wish I could do just that out of the entire list. Then, on Fridays and Shabbat, he adds some other things. But also surely whenever he has a little bit of free time, so, before he goes to sleep, there's a few minutes of free time, so he always adds a few masechtot in the Gemara in between, leaving the table to go into sleep. There's enough time for another masechet or two. And surely there's all the things that you could fit whenever he has time. And this is in addition to answering hundreds of questions every single day from people from all over the world that come to see him and ask him questions about their keilah, about their this, about their that. Now this, Rabotai, every day. If any one of us did one of those things, we'd already think of ourselves as tzaddik. If you do 2 of them, as soon as you see your people, kiss my hand. No, kiss my hand, I'll let you kiss my hand. No, call me Rav from this one. But you're Rabbanita. Okay, Rav, Rabbanit, whatever, just call me something. two things on this list we already think we're Baba Sali. Why? Because we have no concept of what it means to be a Gadol. Now, how can somebody do so much? Just to read all of what he does will take any normal human being, I don't know, a month. I know one guy, is Talmid Chacham, serious, and he actually watches my shiurim. Serious Talmid Chacham. He actually is like a small Rav Kanievsky. He completes the entire Shas Bavli, Yerushalmi, and the Zohar, and some other thing out there every single year. I ask him, how do you have time for that? Needless to say, how do you have time to watch my shiurim? I don't really know. I don't really have a real answer for that. But apparently, Rabotai Karim, when you have made major sacrifices to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you want to get to know everything you possibly can about him by learning all of his books, all of the sages, do all of his mitzvot, do everything he says. You simply want to live for him. Suddenly, time doesn't really apply to you anymore. Suddenly you have all this time to do things that the rest of us can't even figure out how. I can tell you myself, just to finish, I don't know, just 2 or 3 out of these things in one day. If I had nothing else, I don't think I could do. I could study. I mean, I had times where I used to study a lot more than I do today, but I have no idea how somebody could do this in one day. No idea how it's humanly possible to read that much in one day. I mean, just going to the bathroom takes half the day sometimes, Hashem Yishmor. I have no idea how it's possible. But guess what? When you have a Kadosh Baruch Hu, you know a Kadosh Baruch Hu, you know him, everything is different. Everything is different. The world is different. Now, why would somebody do this? Why would somebody learn so much? He goes, oh, he's studious. Okay, he was already studious 80 years ago. He understands what the Chazon Ish. You know why he understands it? He's living it. He's living this happiness. While us, we're thinking, if I had a lot of money, I'll be happy. If I had this girl, I'll be happy. If I had fame, I'll be happy. If I had this house, I'll be happy. Guess what? He's living constantly happy. Constantly at the highest level of happiness that we hope to acquire at Gan Eden. We hope our Gan Eden is like this world. We can hope that our Gan Eden, after we get rewarded for a few things that we did good, we hope that our Gan Eden is like this world. That's how happy he is. When you understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu to that level that you're literally glued to him, your feeling of happiness is simply standard. It's all the time. And I can tell you that when a person has such a feeling, exactly what the Chazon Ish says is what it is. All of the desires that the rest of us have dissipate as if they don't exist. It's not that you don't want it. It doesn't exist in your eyes. Because it's the opposite of what Hashem said. Now, Rav Baruch Ber Leibovich, Alav Shalom, there was a sefer written by his son-in-law, Rav Reuven Grozovsky. And he writes about his father-in-law that you would think that he was a Gadol Hador because he had a lot of original thoughts, a lot of new ideas, that he was extremely smart and so on. But he writes that when Rav Baruch Ber Leibovich learned Torah, he didn't learn Torah by applying his intellect to it, but rather measured his intellect based on what is written in the Torah itself. Meaning that most of us, when we learn, we look at the Torah and we try to understand what's being said and then try to figure out other things from it naturally. oh, this must mean this, but also it means something else. This is also saying this, and he's also saying that, and maybe this, and maybe that, because we already have our preconceived notions, and we try to make those preconceived notions and desires and wants and likes and dislikes, we want those things to fit inside the Torah. We want our predisposition, our reality, we want to find it in the Torah. Rabbi Reuven Grozovsky says that Arav Leibovich, the Gedol Ador, wasn't like us. How did he think? He simply looked at the Torah, and that's reality. And then he compared that reality to what he had, and surely, if that's not what he had, it was canceled immediately. How does that apply to regular things? Now, if you ask an average person, why is it not allowed to steal? Give me a reason of why it's not allowed to steal. Why you shouldn't steal. Now you can say, oh, you shouldn't steal because it's his stuff. Okay, so what? It's his stuff, now it's mine. I can rationalize that, okay, it was his stuff, he used it, now it's my stuff. Then you can say, yeah, but if you steal it from him, then he'll suffer. Yeah, but I can tell you, I'll suffer if I don't have it. Why is his suffering worse than mine? I want it, he has it, I want it. Yeah, but he's going to suffer. Yeah, but I'm suffering while I don't have it. Right? So you can rationalize it that way. So, okay, suffering, no. Stealing, no. But he worked hard for it, right? He worked hard for it. He worked really hard to get this car. Why should you steal it? Listen, I also worked hard to learn how to steal. Well, you think it's not hard work to steal? You know how much I had to train to steal and not get caught? See, every argument you give me, you can say, you can do the opposite. The only thing that you can say will have some type of legs to stand on, say, yeah, but it's illegal and you get caught by the cops. The only way I can fix that one is say, well, I'll become a cop. And I'll steal as a cop. Since I'm not worried about the cops anymore, I'm the cop, I can steal then, right? Meaning, when it comes to secular knowledge, there is no valid reason why you should not steal. Because everything has the opposite measure that I could rationalize it and justify it. The only real reason not to steal and not to do anything is because God said so. That's the only valid reason. It's not because it's not enjoyable, because Maim Gnuvim Imtaku. In fact, stolen water are sweeter. It's not because it's disjustice, because, yeah, it's disjustice for him, but I'll just take from him because he has extra and give it to the poor people. If I take $1 million from a billionaire, is he going to lose his house? No. Is he going to lose any sleep? No. Okay, this guy, if I give him $1 million, he doesn't have food to eat. So I'm a tzaddik. Robin Hood, no? Batman, Robin Hood, one of these criminals, right? So the point is, you could justify any crime. The only reason not to do it is because God said so. And that's what Rav Baruch Ber Leibovitz did. He didn't have a preconceived notion and try to find that notion in the Torah. He saw the Torah, and that's the truth. Whatever else I have that's not it is negated. It's eliminated. It's non-existent. Why? It's not Ritzon Hashem. It's not the will of Hashem. And it cannot be that I live in God's world and have something that's against His will. It cannot be. That's how you become a Gadol. That's how you become a Tzaddik. That's how you acquire this happiness. Now maybe a Gadol, I may not be. Some of you may. I have no idea. That's a hard thing to acquire. But happiness is much easier. Happiness all of us can be. Happiness, it's just simply looking at the Torah and viewing it as this is the reality. Not what I have. And if what I have, I can't find it in the Torah, that means it's wrong. It'll never be that I'm right and the Torah is wrong. It'll never be that I'm right and a Gdol Ador is wrong. It'll never be. It'll never be that I have a unique and new finding that the sages have never found before. And it contradicts them too. It can never be. It can never be a way that you can find a way for pig to be kosher. It can never be. If there was a way to find it kosher, some sage, some giant chacham would have found it already over the last 3,332 years. It can never be that it'll be kosher. Now, if you find a way that it's kosher, that means you're wrong. Now, when a person hits himself with that reality check, immediately he hits his ego. Because we want to be right. We think we're right. But that's the thing. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Which one is more important to you? If being right is happy to you, if being right is what's important to you, you'll never be happy. Because you can be right, but divorced. You can be right, but alone. You can be right, but broke. There's a lot of things you can be right about, but it's the wrong decision to make. Now, the beautiful thing is, when it comes to Hashem, there's no way for you to be right and Him wrong. Meaning, if your right is not in agreement with the Torah, then there's no right. You're not right. Now, how would you know what the Torah says? Because you can translate it yourself. You can't rely on yourself. You have to do the Gedolei Torah. You have to go to the Gedolim. You have to go to the giants. Why? Because they have acquired this knowledge after decades and decades and decades of toiling and doing things that we haven't even begun to do. We haven't even begun to understand. We cannot just walk into a surgery center and just start cutting up bodies saying, no, we're going to save people's lives here. You have to go to the experts. You can't go and just decide that you, with your 3, 4, 5 years of Torah learning, you're all of a sudden going to tell Rashi what to do. It doesn't work that way. Because again, are you trying to be right or are you trying to be happy?